to everyone. Dear friends, devotees, scholars, and lovers of literature, today I have a privilege of speaking on an important, fascinating subject, that is, a comparative study of Sri Annamacharya and William Shakespeare. Some of you may naturally ask, why compare a saint of poet of Tirumala with the greatest dramatist of England? This is indeed a valid question. For the last 5 decades, I have been engaged in studying and researching of Lord Sri Venkateswara, Tirumala traditions and Sankirtanas of Annamacharya. During my graduation days, I had the opportunity to study the dramas of William Shakespeare extensively, as I repeatedly read Shakespeare's works and simultaneously immersed myself in Annamacharya Sankirtanas. I began to observe remarkable similarities in their understanding of human life, emotions, morality, and the transient nature of worldly existence. This realization inspired me to undertake a deeper philosophical exploration of these two immortal literary giants. Today's lecture is the outcome of that humble intellectual and spiritual journey. Across different civilizations, languages, and religious traditions, certain literary figures stand as eternal teachers of humanity. Among them, Talapak Annamacharya of India and William Shakespeare of England occupy exalted positions. Though separated by geography, language, and religious traditions, both Annamacharya and Shakespeare reflected deeply upon the nature of human life. Interestingly, both view life as a kind of drama. Shakespeare declared that all the world as a stage, while Annamacharya proclaimed Nanati Batuku Natakamu, that is, life itself is a drama. This remarkable similarity invites us to compare these two literary giants and appreciate Annamacharya not merely a regional saint but a philosopher of universal significance. Sri Annamacharya lived in 15th century South India during the glorious Vijayanagara period. His entire life revolved around devotion to Lord Sri Venkateswara of Tirumala. Through music and poetry, he sought to guide humanity toward spiritual realization. Shakespeare lived in 16th and early 17th century England during the Elizabethan and Jacobean period. He wrote tragedies, comedies, histories, and sonnets that explored the complexity of human nature. While Annamacharya sang before the sanctum of Lord Sri Venkateswara, Shakespeare wrote for the theatre of London, yet both addressed the same audience, humanity itself. Now let us briefly look into the Shakespeare's vision, all the world as a stage. In his celebrated play, As You Like It, Shakespeare writes, all the world a stage, and all the men and women merely players. This passage has become one of the most famous philosophical statements in world literature. According to Shakespeare, every human being enters the world like an actor entering a stage. Each person performs different roles through life. He describes 7 stages: infant, schoolboy, lover, soldier, judge, old age, the second, childishness leading to death. Shakespeare teaches that no worldly role is permanent. A king today may become powerless tomorrow. A wealthy person may lose everything. Beauty fades, strength diminishes, and untimely death removes every distinction. Through the plays such as Hamlet, Macbeth, King Lear, and Othello, Shakespeare portrays how human beings often become victims of their own passions. Hamlet teaches us excessive doubt leads to suffering. Macbeth teaches us Uncontrolled ambition destroys both the individual and society. Othello teaches us jealousy blinds wisdom. King Lear teaches us pride and ego results in tragedy. Thus, Shakespeare emerges as a profound observer of human psychology. Now, let us look into the Annamacharya's vision, that is, life is divine drama. Centuries before Shakespeare, Sri Annamacharya expressed an equal profound philosophical insight in his celebrated Sankirtana, that is, Nanati Batuku Natakamu Kanaka Kannadi Kaivalyamu. It means life of every day is but a drama. Liberation alone is eternal. This composition is among the finest philosophical songs in Indian devotional literature. According to Annamacharya, worldly existence resembles a theoretical performance. Human beings assume different identities such as father, mother, king, servant, scholar, rich, poor, friend, or enemy. However, Annamacharya reminds devotees that wealth is temporary, physical beauty is temporary, social status is temporary, political power is temporary, human relationships are temporary. Only the Supreme Lord is eternal. Unlike Shakespeare, Annamacharya does not view life merely as a human drama. He understands it as a divine drama or Daiva Leela, the cosmic play orchestrated by the Supreme Being. For Annamacharya, Lord Venkateswara is the unseen director of this cosmic literature. Human beings are actors, God is the director. Now, let us understand the similarities between Annamacharya and Shakespeare. Shakespeare repeatedly emphasizes the fleeting nature of life. That is, in The Tempest, he says, we are such stuff as dreams are made on. Similarly, Annamacharya reminds devotees that worldly life is transient and uncertain. Both poets warn humanity against excessive attachment to temporary positions. Both teach wealth disappears, beauty fades, youth declines, fame vanishes. This teaching closely resembles the Hindu doctrine of anitya, that is, impermanence. Now, let us discuss on how both of them recognize changing human roles. Shakespeare's Seven Ages of Man portrays life continuous transformation. Annamacharya also repeatedly refers to birth, childhood, youth, adulthood, old age, and death in his Sankirtanas. Neither poet believes that social identities define ultimate reality. A king, a scholar, a priest, and a laborer all eventually leave the world. In this sense, both thinkers advocate humility. Now, let us briefly discuss about the criticism on human pride. One of Shakespeare's recurring themes is the destruction causes of arrogance. Macbeth's ambition destroys him. King Lear's pride leads to suffering. Coriolanus falls because of excessive ego. Similarly, Annamacharya condemns pride born of wealth, caste, learning, beauty, and power. Annamacharya repeatedly teaches that before Lord Venkateswara all are equal. Annamacharya famously declares that Brahma Mokkate, Parabrahma Mokkate, the same divine reality exists in all beings. This spiritual equality makes pride meaningless. Now let us discuss on how both explore universal human emotions. Love, fear, sorrow, hope, devotion, anxiety, greed, jealousy, and compassion appear prominently in the works of both the poets. Shakespeare's understanding of human emotions remains unparalleled in world literature. Annamacharya similarly portrays various emotional states through bhakti. However, Annamacharya elevates emotions into spiritual experiences. For example, romantic love becomes divine love, separation becomes longing for God, joy becomes spiritual ecstasy. Thus, both are masters of human emotions. Now, briefly, let us discuss on fundamental differences between Annamacharya and Shakespeare. Despite many similarities, important differences exist. Shakespeare primarily examines human life from a humanistic standpoint. His central concern is human behavior. He asks, why do people suffer? Why do they commit mistakes? Why do they love, hate, and struggle? Annamacharya goes beyond human behavior. He asks, why has the soul taken birth? What is the purpose of human existence? How can the soul attain liberation? For Annamacharya, spiritual realizations is life's ultimate purpose. Shakespeare portrays life as a stage. However, he does not clearly identify who directs the play. Annamacharya provides a clear answer. The Supreme Lord of Sri Venkateswara directs the cosmic drama. Nothing ultimately exists independent of divine will. This reflects the Vedic understanding God is the supreme reality. Now, let us briefly discuss about the final goal of human life. For Shakespeare, life's meaning remains open to interpretation. Many of his tragedies end in sorrow, ambiguity, or unsolved tensions. Annamacharya, however, presents a definite goal moksha, that is, liberation from the cycle of birth and death. He teaches the devotion to Lord Venkateswara leads to eternal bliss. Thus, Annamacharya not only diagnoses human problems but also prescribes a spiritual remedy. Now, let us look into the aspects of devotion as the ultimate solution. Shakespeare brilliantly analyzes human weakness but seldom offers clear spiritual solutions. Annamacharya consistently offers bhakti as the path to transcend sufferings. According to him, pride disappears through devotion, fear disappears through surrender, ignorance disappears through divine grace, suffering diminishes through remembrance of God. His philosophy culminated in prapatti, that is, total surrender to the Lord. Now, let us look into the aspect of Annamacharya's relevance to the present day society. Annamacharya's message possesses extraordinary relevance. Modern society is increasingly characterized by stress, materialism, competition, ego, anxiety, spiritual emptiness. In such circumstances, Annamacharya reminds us that worldly achievements are temporary. He teaches, perform your worldly duties sincerely, but never forget the Lord. His philosophy does not reject family life or social responsibility. Instead, it spiritualizes them. One may be a teacher, farmer, officer, businessman, homemaker, or student. Yet one should remember that these are temporary roles assigned by God. The devotee should perform these roles with humility, righteousness, and devotion. This transformation ordinary life into sacred services. Let us discuss on the global assessment of both the poets. William Shakespeare is universally celebrated as the greatest dramatist of human nature. Sri Annamacharya deserves equal recognition as one of the humanity's greatest spiritual philosopher. If Shakespeare reveals the drama of man, Annamacharya relieves the drama of the soul. If Shakespeare studies human emotions, Annamacharya sanctifies those emotions through devotion. If Shakespeare portrays life's stage, Annamacharya reveals the divine director behind the stage. Therefore, Annamacharya may rightly be regarded as a global philosopher whose message transcends language, region, religion, and time. At the end of this discussion, I have tried my level best to understand and bring out a comparative analysis between Annamacharya and Shakespeare. First, let us look into the vision of life. Shakespeare mentions life is a stage, whereas Annamaya says life is a divine drama that is the Leela of the Lord. In focus, Shakespeare explores human emotions and conflicts, whereas Annamaya transforms emotions into devotion. In solutions, Shakespeare, no clear spiritual solutions were given, whereas Annamacharya has given devotion to Lord Venkateswara is the ultimate solution. In directions, Shakespeare studies the actor, whereas Annamacharya sees the god as the director of the cosmic play. Final goal, Shakespeare mentions human life is a transient, whereas Annamacharya mentions liberation, that is moksha, union with the eternal. The final message of them is Shakespeare mentions victims of passion, pride, and ignorance, whereas Annamacharya mentions surrender, humility, and divine love leads to eternal joy. Annamacharya's universal message is the roles change, wealth changes, power changes, fame changes, the body changes, but the divine truth remains eternal. Before concluding, let us look into the aspects which we have discussed so far. Dear friends, scholars, and devotees, a comparison between Annamacharya and William Shakespeare reveals a fascinating meeting of Eastern and Western wisdom. Both recognized the human life as a transient. Both warned against pride and attachment. Both understood the changing nature of human existence. Yet Annamacharya takes humanity one step further. He teaches that life is not merely a stage but a sacred cosmic drama directed by Lord Sri Venkateswara. Human beings are not merely actors, they are eternal souls journeying toward divine realization. Shakespeare helps us to understand ourselves. Annamacharya helps us understand ourselves in relation to God. Therefore, for devotees, Annamacharya message remains eternally relevant. Life is the passage of drama. Devotion alone leads to everlasting joy. Annamaya in his devotional Sankirtanas mentions that kings leave their crowns, scholars leave their books, actors leave their stage. Every soul completes its role in the drama of life. But the devotee who reaches the feet of Lord Sri Venkateswara finds the eternal refuge that never ends. Therefore, for devotees, Annamacharya message remains eternally relevant. Life is a passage of drama. Devotion alone leads to everlasting joy. May the teachings of Sri Annamacharya inspire us to perform our worldly roles with humility, righteousness, and unwavering devotion to Lord Sri Venkateswara. Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. Hope you have enjoyed this piece of discussion in comparing the philosophical ideas of William Shakespeare and Sri Annamacharya. This is an important exercise which I have made for you people to understand and propagate how great Annamacharya is. I request you to forward this piece of discussion to your friends, relatives, teachers, and scholars. I request you kindly subscribe this channel to know more about Hindu culture and civilization. Thank you for your kind hearing. Hope we will meet you in another discussion.
క్షీరాబ్ధి కన్యకకు శ్రీ మహాలక్ష్మికి ప్రజాలయమునకు నీరాజనం నీరాజనం నీరాజనం